What's up, guys? It's your girl, Miss O from the Reality Check Report, and I am checking in, and we are back for another review with me. And we are going to review the season finale of the Sing ATL, episode 8, titled The Last Kiss. This was a super episode. This episode was an hour and 30 something minutes long. So, as the intro plays, do me a favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel, shoot, even give me a share, and let somebody know I'm over here doing reviews. So, the episode picks up from last week's episode, which they were at Carl's house, and JT and Scotty argument continues. So, somewhere in that argument, JT expressed to Scotty that she feels that he is always discounting her feelings. And Scotty let her know in so many words, you want somebody to understand where you're coming from, address how you're feeling about the situation or scenario, and take it as you're just trying to not hold on to any feelings about a situation. But when somebody else do it, you can't see where they're coming from. And that is the big issue within your friendship, JT. You want other people to be understanding about how you feel about things, but when it comes to them expressing to you how they feel about your transaction of that's the problem. And we will see that further along in the episode. So they kept going on about how Miss JT was feeling about DJ, and Scotty is the prime example of the type of friend I would love to have in my circle. I don't want to know what was said about me. Bitch, I want to know what you said in the midst of what was being said about me. And I can totally respect Scotty's point of view of that. That is my friend. You are somebody I'm getting to know. You're my friend. But we're not going to discuss my friend negatively with me. That's a no-no. We're not doing it. And the fact that Miss JT couldn't get that through her pretty little head was really bothering me. So one thing that I did pick up within the argument, Miss JT said something to the effect of, close your mouth and open your ears. And see, that little snappy little comment right there is why people be wanting to get physical with you. I'm not saying this right, but I see why people be wanting to get physical with you. And it's just a lack of boundaries with the tinge of respect. And hopefully next season we can see something different. But these last two episodes, baby, Miss JT, you done had me hot. So in Scotty's confessional, he said he felt like Miss JT genuinely wanted to start mess, because if this was of concern, this is not how you bring concern up. And I totally agree with Scotty, because like you said, you can have a discernment for my friend. I'm telling you from the jump, don't discuss that with me. But the way she just kept badgering on about said situation, like it was annoying. Scotty was over the conversation, and honestly, as a viewer, I was over it too. Because how many times this man got to tell you, stop talking about my friend negatively in front of me, because now I'm about ready to pop you. Now, side note, in my notes, I had wrote down, Scotty tells her that he's uncomfortable with the conversation. And for the life of me, JT is acting like a dumbass blind, not understanding where he's coming from. And I just had to plug that in there. That situation was just annoying, because it was like, he heard what you were saying. He respected how you felt. But in return, he wanted you to respect his point of view by not discussing it with him. And somewhere between the Merlot and Chardonnay, it got lost. So in the confessional, Carl lets us know that he don't know what the hell is going on, but he's very entertained by what is going on. And he asks the question, can Miss JT and Scotty ever get along? So that wraps up that little scene as far as the argument in regards to Miss JT and Scotty. So then we move on from a drama-induced conversation to a trauma-induced conversation. And Scotty divulges to Carl and Miss JT about the dinner that he had with DJ and Bendo and what took place there. And Scotty expressed to them that he's been going through about a depression. It started getting to him to the point where he was thinking about Sadasu. Twist the words around, y'all get it. And, you know, what I've learned with going through therapy, because I'm an advocate for therapy, I've been in active therapy for over a year and a half now. Um, the things that you experience within your childhood really does shape who you are as an adult. And as an adult, it is our job to be aware of that and start to heal from that, however that healing may take place. And Scotty acknowledging what happened to him, Scotty telling his story to thousands of people via this web series and his platform has definitely helped a lot of people. Helped them from stopping Sadasu, has helped them come with terms that what has happened to them, they may not have registered as SA or grape, but because the conversations are being had, there may be some clarity among that. And I hope you're taking heed of that, Scotty. You are very important as a person, getting a little personal. At the beginning of this month, my very first cousin, I'm significantly older than her, so I looked at her as my niece, couldn't get over her bout with depression. So that is something that my family is dealing with currently in this state. And I'm gonna be honest, it's a messed up situation. But Scotty, I do thank you for coming out and letting us know that this is real and we can talk about these things so we can get these problems solved. But getting back to the episode, he lets Carl and Miss JT know that this experience that he's had, he's dealt with in silence. He has not told his mother about this SA situation. And he is really conflicted because it's going to be a trigger for her. His mom has experienced SA herself, and she knows the person that did this to her child. That got to be a really tough situation as a child going through the experience that you're going through and wanting to protect your parent from emotions. And what I would say is, Scotty, that just shows how much you love and care about your mother by wanting to protect her and her feelings and emotions. But I will also say that you went through this experience too, and it is okay for you to protect your feelings and your emotions in regards to this situation, because you're the one that really has to deal with it, and the people who truly love you have to deal with the residual effects. You know what I'm saying? As someone who has, excuse me, has experienced the same thing you guys have experienced, that is something that I allowed to hinder my relationships with my children and with my spouse. It took me a long time, and I'm still working on it. I'm learning how to be affectionate. I am not an affectionate person. I do not want to be touched. Do not hug me. If you do get a hug, if it's more than 5 seconds, I get to freaking out. Like, that's something that I had to go deep down inside and understand why that is. And like I said, actively in therapy, working on it. With this journey, I realized that this is going to be a long journey, and I'm up for the ride, because at the end of the day, the people that are in my life that's important to me, that loves me and I love them, getting a handle on that is important. So you did let us know at some point you did have that discussion with your mom, and I'm so happy that you did have that discussion. And that's another person that understands. So a part of that conversation, Miss JT shares her experience, and hearing Miss JT speak about her experience gave me a flashback on what most of people who experience SA do. We try to justify that other person's actions. And JC, I know I've been tugging on your wig these last 2 episodes, but this conversation right here really got me to see you as human. Understand I don't want to say aggressiveness. I definitely don't want to put that on a black woman. See your protectiveness over those who you love. Like, you really get to have a deeper understanding on why she is reacting the way she is, with her friends. And the story that you share as far as what took place with those young men and the age that you were and the acts that were done, disgusting on their end. I hope what you put in this story out here, it makes them feel some kind of way, in a bad way. You guys are doing something that's needed. Shit didn't happen to us when we was little. Now that we have a better understanding as adults, we need to talk about it and correct the wrongs, because we have generations following behind us, and we don't want what happened to us to happen to them. So in my notes, I had wrote down, deep down, I think Miss JT is a good person. And I really do. I think your heart is in the right place. And what I'm starting to get the consensus of is that you just love hard as hell. And that can be a good thing and a bad thing. But I also put in my notes that she lacks boundaries, and that can cause a huge problem within your friendships. So, also in this conversation, we got an understanding of Carl and where he was at a certain point in his life. He said 2022, 2023 was the darkest years of his life. He lost his mom. The man he was dating had passed away. His friend, who they speak highly of and do these yearly friend trips in memory of, they speak of. So he endured a lot. 3 close people that were close to him passed away, and that got to be a lot, Carl. And what I will say to that is, I love how you pulled through. I love how you became resilient. You took that and told yourself you was gonna push forward. So within this scene, with everybody divulging, the things they've been through with SA, it just became an emotional vault. And Scotty begins to get emotional. And if you're a part of this Scotty gang, y'all know Scotty do not like to cry. He do not like to cry. But I say, fuck that cry. Release those emotions. You're going to feel so much better. I used to hold in tears so much. And once I got to a certain age, fuck that. If I feel like crying, I'm crying. And I do feel better. I don't know what kind of endorphin release it gives you, but I do feel better. So in Carl's confessional, he lets us know that he's uncomfortable with emotions. But I do like how you stepped up for your friend. You seen he was uncomfortable. You seen he was getting emotional. And even though you don't know how to deal with emotions, you did the right thing. You gave your friend a hug and let him know everything was going to be okay. And that's what friendships are for. Sometimes there will be things that you're going to be uncomfortable with, but if you love that person, you know, sometimes you'll step out your comfort zone. So the next scene in this episode is Jamie from Jamie That's Me, Sakina from Simply Sakina, and Scotty. Y'all know Scotty by Nature TV. They all get together and they have lunch and they sit down and they just talk about everything. Jamie wasn't available to attend the book launch, but Sakina was, and they discussed that whole thing. And Scotty just tells them that he's been doing YouTube for over 15 years, and his platform has changed, but there are things that he really wants to do on his platform, and he really wanted to get the girls' opinion on how to really go forward with that. If you're part of the Scotty gang, music is Scotty's first love. I think music and his baby brother is like 1A and 1B. And I think we got to change the sticks in the A and the B because they're right there neck and neck. But he wanted to figure out how to, get this music content going. And Jamie gave him some good advice. The content I'm doing is what I want to do. I don't care. It's going to be slow. It's going to be like ground zero. But keep putting the content out there. Eventually, it will catch on. And it will. People like drama. People want to know what's going on with the celebs. We even want to know your views and opinions on TV shows, reviews. But we know that music is your first love, and we do value your opinion when it comes to music. So like Jamie said, make the content, put the content out there. Somehow it's going to catch on. So Scotty also discussed his book. When he put his book out, he wanted it to at least get to the top 80. Baby, it got to the top 70. And I will say this is the first time that I saw Scotty accept his flowers. And I hope that is growing on you, because all the accolades that you have received, the ones who have been with you from the very beginning up until a midway point, because I ain't been with you from the very beginning, but I definitely have been at the midway point. It has been a blessing seeing you flourish and receive the recognition that you're receiving as far as the awards. We already knew you was going to get there. So it is very good to see you accept your flowers from your colleagues who are peers of yours who respect you. Another thing that I learned is that you can meet people on social media and really become friends with them, because that's what I see with Scotty and Jamie. Like, they really locked in, and Scotty let us know Jamie gonna check in with him. She gonna text his butt and say, what's going on? And those are the type of friends that you need, that just genuinely care about your well-being and what you got going on in your life as it helps you. So we wrap that scene up and we get to the grand scene, one of the grand scenes, which is Scotty's book release. And you see the crew showing up, you see his family pulling up, you see his friends popping out, his parents, his baby brother, his sister, cousins. It looked like it was a time, and it looked like all the people that was there had a genuine love and affection for Scotty, that it just was beautiful to see. And you can see why people got emotional. So we do know that even though they had their little back and forth, JT is a good friend and she is very supportive. And in the confessional, JT tells us that she there to start some shit. Well, I mean, she's there to speak on some things. In Bendo's confessional, he lets us know walking into Scotty's event had him all in his feels. He was just overjoyed with pride. Like, this is his boo. He got a good thing going on. He was just proud. And I could tell, like, everybody in that room was genuinely proud of what Scotty had produced. So in the confessional, Scotty had let us know that everything that could go wrong that day went wrong that day. He said, I didn't like the venue, felt like he was in the hood, nothing was going his way. Goddamn it, even his belt broke. He said it was just, he felt like it was a disaster. But that's the thing when you're a professional and you got to move on. Because even though you were experiencing those things, having those things going on, translated to us as a viewer, we ain't seen none of that. We seen a room full of folks who genuinely loved you and wanted to know what you had going on. And we got to hear how people felt and thought of you. But he was over it and he was just ready for the event to be over. So we do find out that his best friend, Josiah, JoJo, as we like to call him, hosted the event. And a part of the event, he opened up the floor for those who wanted to speak graciously of Scotty. And one of the first scenes we got was Trent, who is Scotty's baby brother. And I'm not going to lie, he had us all in our feels. Like, you can tell that he was so proud of his brother. And this is the type of relationships I want to see between siblings. Most of the time, siblings be beefed out with each other. But the admiration and respect that Trent has for Scotty, it's so beautiful to see on screen. And side note, Scotty, you had a discussion about one of your other brothers, being upset that he does not have the relationship like you and this brother does. And I can see I can see why he feels that way and why he would get jealous. I mean, it is a beautiful thing to see. But y'all can still, you and that brother can have that. It just will be on a different level and more on adult terms. He would have to have the understanding that, even though Trent is your baby brother, that he's more like your son. And that's where the differentiation would come from. Scotty dad also gets up there and he speaks. And one thing I took from that was that he told his son, your potential is unlimitless. And to have somebody believe in you in that magnitude where no matter what you got going on, whatever you do is going to be somewhat of a, success because your potential is unlimited. That is so great to hear from a parent, especially when you might not have had a good relationship with that parent or, you just really don't know how that, your parents really feel about, what you got going on. So that was great to hear. Sweet Tea let us know that, Scotty got her to step out of her comfort zone because she don't do public speaking. She's very happy with the comfortability of their relationship, and she lets Scotty know anything that I can do to help push your book, get eyes on it. Please let me know because you're bright. Your light just shines so bright, and you're just a special person. And so far, leading up to everything that everyone says, I mean, they're absolutely right. We tell you this all the time, but I think now that you're getting to see it on a different platform, you may take a little bit more heed to it. So lastly, they pass the mic over to who we all know is Mama Scotty, Miss Tracy. She gets the mic. And I can tell you already I love her attitude because Scotty said, Mama, don't cry. She said, I already did. Had the whole room busting out in laughter. And she let him know, I already said what I needed to say. But I'm very proud of you. And everybody in that room, everybody that was watching, everybody that's a Scotty gang member, have that same sentiment. Scotty, we are proud of you. We want you to go forward, and we cannot wait for season 2 to see what else is going on in your world. So we get to the portion of the event where Scotty reads an excerpt from his book. And in Scotty's confessional, he said, even though I got residual irritation with JC right now, I'm very happy that she showed up because she is very supportive. And when you have friends, it's a great thing for you to know why that person is your friend. And Scotty lets us know, JT is my friend because she always shows up and she always supports. But on the side note, I also put in my notes, I think Scotty forgot what Miss JT said at Carl's house. The Chardonnay and the Merlot kind of took over because she showed let us know, at the event, I'm going to address some things. And some things she did address. So in one of the Lion's confessionals, he was like, whatever the heck Scotty was reading had him so tickled. And I'm sold on the book. A good CBD and a good book, chuckle from a book on a Friday night, that's his kind of thing. He's that kind of girl. So this also was another big thing for Scotty because this is the first time that his close family and friends actually physically get to meet Bendo. And he was just so excited. You can tell Scotty was in a great space right here. And Bendo, he says, Mama a triple OG. He loved the banter between them because Scotty Mama is a Cowboys fan. Boo. And I think he said Bendo is a Vikings fan. So they go back and forth, which is hilarious because I'm a Lions fan, so I'm smack that somewhere in the middle. Y'all probably don't like me either. But anywho, he said Pops was cool, but he felt really connected with baby brother Trent, and that's because both of them are Geminis. But he can really just sense, the pride and loyalty that he has towards his brother, and as a kid who grew up in foster care, who didn't know his mother or his father, that's an aspect in life that Bendo is yearning for. And Bendo, what I will say, if you quit playing games and you lock in with Scotty, and y'all really lock in, Trent could be your brother too. So, dun dun dun, we move along to the drama. So, after the book launch event portion is over, JT, Bando, Scotty, DJ, they all congregate in an area and they talk about the book launch. They express how proud they are. JT said she was going to order the digital copy, but she actually wanted a hard copy. Everybody was just expressing how proud they was. He did express how things were going the way he wanted them to go, but it went over well. Things got done and the event was a success. So DJ, brings it to the floor and expresses that he has some personal things going on. He in school full time. He's getting adjusted to his living situation. He got car problems. So he wanted it to be clear to Bendo. If I didn't like you, if I didn't fuck with you, I wouldn't show up to nothing. But I do have things going on that will contribute to me not being available for things. And it doesn't mean that I don't like you or, I don't want to be there. It's just sometimes I'm not going to be able to be there. And that's understandable. Only thing I will say is, step up and be vulnerable. Let your friends know, hey, I really would love to attend this, but I'm not going to be able to attend because of such and such. And just having that clear, open line of communication will solve a lot of the problems that y'all have amongst your friend group. So this is the part where JT starts her shit. My bad. So, first watching the episode, she was pissing me off. Second time watching the episode, I had to watch on closed captions because I wanted to be short. By the third time watching the episode, I'm going to back up off my girl, Miss JT, because I understand where you're coming from. Delivery, horrible. Timing, horrible. We can work on those things. But your passion about it, I can respect as a friend. I can respect. So, we move on to the drama. And Miss JT says, can I ask a question? So, there's a lot of things that's been happening, and I would like to revisit some conversations that we've all had. JT begins to tell us that she feel like she's made out to look crazy and to be like she's crazy. And she does have a point because it does, come across like you ain't got no business, you in everybody else's business, bitch, you're loony. But like I said, after watching the episode the third time, I got a different consensus. Now I will put in my notes after watching it the first time. I think you're projecting somewhat. After the third rewatch, I still feel like somewhat you're projecting, but not as strongly as I felt that first time I watched it. One thing that I did clock when Ms. JT is talking about her friendship with Scotty is that you put emphasis on how great of a friend you are to Scotty. And you may have some years up on Bando, as far as them knowing each other and being around each other. But DJ and Scotty have been friends for almost 2 decades, over 15 years. So do you think your friendship is greater than Scotty's and DJ's friendship? Because you really like to put emphasis on how much you care for Scotty and, all these emphasis like Tramel, Scotty, Jamar, T, his whole friend group that's been there before you arrive don't have those same sentiments. Like, I kind of get confused with that. Like, it almost made me feel like you want to put you and his relationship on a pedestal so they can have an understanding that you the HBIC. So this portion right here is where I was irritated with her, but after watching, I kind of clocked some things. So Ms. JT said, initially, I had an issue with Bendo because of how things were transpiring on social media in regards to him and my friend. Me and Bando met. We kikied over margaritas and calamari. She didn't say that. I'm saying that. And they came to the conclusion at the end of that they were going to be friends. And whatever they had going on, she was going to respect Scotty and Bando's relationship and just kind of leave it be. But on her way to Scotty's book launch event, she sees on the internet that Bando is plastered all over social media entertaining whoever the hell Vondale is. I like his name. It's a unique name. But I'm not familiar on who Vondale is. But clearly they all are familiar. And Miss JT wanted a motherfucker to stop playing in her face. And at that point, I think all of us wanted to know what the hell was going on and if Bando was ever going to stop playing in our face. So this is when Bendo and Miss JT just do ping pong match. They going back and forth, back and forth. And within that back and forth, Scotty was getting his kiki on. He was finding that shit funny. But in the confessional, Scotty said, I want to know what this bitch is inhaling. Because why are you bringing this to me at my book event? And that is everybody's issue. You are addressing things in the wrong setting. I'm not saying don't address them, because what you address, we definitely, as viewers, people who care about Scotty, we definitely want that to be addressed. But that wasn't the time. And yes, I was with Bendo. Yes, the event is over, but the day ain't, bitch. So apparently Bendo and Scotty had already discussed this little video. Scotty said what he felt, how he felt to Bendo's face about the video. And one thing that I did clock, she said, so here's the problem. Scotty said he already addressed it and discussed it, but I haven't. And my question to you is, who the fuck do you think you are? This is what they got going on. What you mean Scotty already addressed it, but you haven't? Who are you? Why do you think you are entitled to a motherfucking thing? Any kind of answer. So from that perspective, that's how I feel. But from her perspective as a friend, you're supposed to be rocking with my friend. Either y'all is or y'all ain't. But what you not gonna do is have him out here looking like a fool. And I really do appreciate Scotty waiting until she was not among them to address that and ask him that question. Because everybody had that same question. Like, do you know what it appears? The optics. Everything is about optics. How people put their life on social media, you know, everything. Now, from Bendo's perspective, I'm grown. I can do whatever I want to do. And he's a part of content creating, you know what I'm saying? So even if he was an actor in a movie and he had kissing scenes with people, that's his job. I don't know if that per se was a job or, you know, creating chaos on social media. I really don't know what his mind frame was when he created that video. But when Scotty asked him, do you understand what she is saying? And he said, yes, but I'm not going to tell her that. You have to start wondering how much is this is for shits and giggles. Like, you know, the constant trolling, you got to grow up, man. You got to grow up. There's too much trolling on the internet. Like, nobody really has time for that. And the people that love and respect Scotty, they're going to have something to say. They really are going to have something to say. And at some point, as much as we like to say, it don't matter what the people on the outside got to say. We just locked in. At some point, it is going to start to get in your ear, and then you're going to start to look at things. We can just use a reality TV show. All that time talking about on Love and Marriage Huntsville, talking about Marcel cheating. His wife ain't never feel no kind of way until a big back photo appeared. And then on that season, on one of those episodes, she asked him about it. After a while, it's going to start eating at you. So, Bendo, I hope when y'all do make it official, you did all that shit. Now, Miss JT told that man to stop moving like a slut bucket. And what I have come to understand is she loved that word slut bucket. Quit calling these people out their name. Now, I did clock in Bendo's confessional. He said, while we was at my man's book release, Queen Roach was over here asking questions that ain't had shit to do with that book. Then he framed the question, bitch, what is your problem with me? Now, I wouldn't necessarily call her out her name because, you know, we ain't got to be disrespectful. But she been being disrespectful to him, so I get it. And we all want to know, Bendo, what the is JT's problem with you? And I think we got the answer. You play too much. You play too many games. You are a troll. And it's starting to have a residual effect. So, you know, it's just some things that need some adjustment. So in the confessional, DJ let us know that the same shit online that Miss JT saw, he saw. And he asked Delon and Marcus if they saw it. They said they did. He asked them, do y'all think Scotty know about this? They said they did not know. So what did DJ do? As a good friend who knows this kind of conversation could shake up my friend's emotions, not today, not on his day, not the day of his book launch. That's what a friend who respects boundaries do. It got a little spicy. Some words were said. Bendo wanted to change the subject. He lets him know, I'm going to do what I want to do. You need to go over there and be bothered by yourself. You know, it got a little heated to the point where I think everybody knew that Scotty was, you know, feeling some type of way. So DJ cut in and said, you know, are there some things you want to address? You know, let's go off. Let's have this private. And Bendo said, oh, you want to have y'all conversation private, but you want to bring mine to the forefront. Now, I do feel where he coming from with that. Like, don't try to put me on blast, but then you want to have another conversation with somebody privately. You know, I had that shit all out in the opening. Now, within the conversation between Bendo and Scotty, when he asked him do he understand where she's coming from? Bando did tell Scotty he need to pick better friends. And I wouldn't say she's not a good friend. She's an overly caring friend. And, ain't nothing wrong with having that kind of friend in your pocket. Period, point blank. So we move on to the next scene, and that's when Bando meets the family, meets the cousin. And he goes on to share his dynamic of his family. We do find out that man does not know his mother or his father, and that he grew up in foster care. And I didn't grow up in foster care, but I definitely wasn't raised by my mama or my daddy. So I understand that sentiment, but I did have siblings. My siblings were with me. So, that's a little different, tangent or whatever. But, being around Scotty, seeing the love that's in the room, he, gets emotional because what Scotty has is something that Bando has always desired. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with being vulnerable and showing your emotions. And the more you open up, the more you be vulnerable, the better your relationship can be, can get, honestly. Now, at some point, Miss JT simmers down and she has clarity that, Scotty is feeling some kind of way. So she wanted to be the bigger person and pull Scotty to the side and apologize to him. And Scotty tells Miss JT that he felt disrespected. And he goes in on her. And I can respect everything he said. You want to do this around my family? I mean, we really put the emphasis on family. And, he felt disrespected. He said, I would never come at you the way you've been coming at me these past few weeks. And, what me and Bando got going on ain't your motherfucking concern. Mind the business that pays you. And while he's trying to get this across, you can tell that Miss JT is on the defense and she's checked out. She really isn't hearing what Scotty said. And that's what we mean. Like, how you feel and what you got going on matters, but nothing else matters. Like, you could have addressed what you addressed with Bando and Scotty and DJ at another time. It seems like that whenever it's an event going on, we have to circle back to you. Like, the attention has to be diverted to Miss JT. And hopefully next season we can learn how to not do that. But Scotty lets her know, I love you. And, as we grow in this friendship, if you can respect those lines, we're going to be good. We're going to be good. And I really do like their friendship. Like, they friendship's going to have growing pains. But the way they navigate through this, and because it's not just them two, it's a friend group, I think that, moving forward, Miss JT and Scotty are going to have a good relationship. Hopefully. So Miss JT got invited by a producer. I think she said his name was Mikhail, but don't quote me on that. And initially she had some things going on, and Scotty had brought this producer up, and lo and behold, that producer jumped in her DMs to get her on board with something he already had going on. So it's just a full circle moment. And speaking of full circle moment, the same place that Scotty had his event is where Miss JT was meeting with the producer and having that event. So full circle moment. We do find out that Delon is going to pull up on Miss JT, and they discuss, their friendship, the telephone game conversation, and run through some lines. Now, the discussion of the telephone game, basically, both of them come to the consensus that our friendship is important. You can tell they both value that friendship. Whatever happened in the past, lock them in where they both value that friendship. And from JT's perspective, Miss JT's perspective, she said, I don't care if you're feeling some kind of way. Just don't go to other people telling them that you feel some kind of way, and I got to hear that back from other people. Now, as long as this carried on, Miss JT, you knew that Delon was feeling some kind of way at some point in time. Why did we have to drag it on for so long before it's addressed? That's my question. But Delon, like, hey, let's get some facts straight. I didn't say that. Don't mean it wasn't true. But those words didn't come out of my mouth. Delon, we better see more of you season 2 if you're coming back, which I really hope you do come back, because I want to know more about you. It's just something, I can see why everybody love them some Delon. It's just something about you, boy. We love it. And I would love to see more about your life, what you got going on. I would really love to see your dynamic in your relationship with Marcus, because I don't know if you've seen, but I love me some Marcus. Anywho, where I'm at, they go on to discuss Miss JT's dislike for DJ. And Delon, for the life of me, cannot understand why Miss JT do not like DJ, because out of everyone in the collective, him and DJ have the best dynamic. Like, he loved him some DJ. And everybody seemed to like DJ. Bando got his gripe with DJ as far as time and showing up, and he felt like, maybe, he really didn't fuck with him like that. Miss JT has her biased feelings towards DJ because of her gay husband. I still need some clarification on that. But anywho, she, feels some kind of way. And everybody's entitled to feel how they feel. Everybody is not going to like DJ. You know what I'm saying? I personally love him, but everybody's not going to like, and that's fine with that. But you got to have like a real reason why you don't like him. And the reasons that Miss JT is giving, ain't nobody feeling that shit. Find something else. Find a real reason why you don't care for him. So they end their conversation on a good note. They both agree that if they're feeling any way towards one another, they are going to come and address it amongst them, which you can't do nothing but appreciate that. So after that chat, Delon and JT, they run over some lines. In the confessional, Ms. JT expressed that she is very pleased at how the conversation went that she had with Delon. And that wraps up that scene. And we get to the very end of the episode, which is Scotty and Bendo. At some point within a book launch, Scotty and Bendo agreed to go to dinner. At this dinner, they are discussing, the book launch and where they are sitting at within their friendship, personal life, work life. They just going over everything. And Scotty lets him know that he was very happy with the turnout. He was actually happy his sister was available and came in support. And that was something that Bando checked, because he was like, he really wanted to know how Scotty felt, because he know the relationship between Scotty and his sister. And I'm very glad on camera that Scotty said that he was happy that she came in support, because sometimes your siblings just got to know that sometimes we're not expressive the way we need to be expressive towards our siblings. So that was good to hear. Excuse me. Bando speaks on his highlight of the event, which was his Trent, Scott's baby brother, speaking highly of Scotty. And he said it was just something about that just had him all up in his feels, and he really connected with that. He was just in a joyous state of mind, and that's good. I really hope y'all moving forward. So they move on to the discussion about his Bando's antics, and Bando explains that he's sorry for the perception, but they're not together, and that's something they keep honing on, which I'm actually glad that this topic is coming up, because people don't have an understanding of what true dating is. You know what I'm saying? They're not together. They're dating and they're trying to figure it out. So he's able to do whatever he wants to do. But if y'all working towards that, that shit need to be dialed down. And that's basically what Miss JT was saying. If you taking him serious, if y'all figuring it out, you need to dial down on this shit. And yeah, I mean, she's right. So then Bando wanted to move the conversation all the way forward. And he said, so let's talk about us. And he goes in and says that he don't want to make the same mistakes from his past relationship. And he goes off to name off some of the things that he's done wrong in his past relationship. One of them was not taking the time to get to know somebody, jumping into a relationship and not having his shit together. And with him not having his shit together, he ended up getting the shit end of the stick. And he also stated that pride won't allow him to be taken care of by somebody else. And Bando, all I hear is a whole lot of excuses. Not taking to get the time to know somebody, okay. Jumping into a relationship and not having your shit together, but this pride won't allow you to be taken care of by somebody else. I think it's bullshit. And why I say this is because when you're in a relationship, if you get dog sick, your significant other is taking care of you, and pride is absolutely out the motherfucking window when you can't get out of bed and you need somebody to help you. So with that being said, you got to learn how to put your pride to the side, especially if y'all working to something that's yours. You know what I'm saying? Come on now. It just sounds like a whole lot of excuses. And I love how Scotty had a rebuttal for every excuse that you provided. Not taking the time to know somebody. Y'all been knowing each other for 2 years. Jumping into a relationship. Y'all met at a certain time, but y'all didn't start dating until December. Y'all met in March, y'all didn't start dating until December. Now, the short end of the stick conversation, or the shit end of the stick conversation, that's something that y'all can discuss. But if y'all, like Scotty said, if y'all locked in, y'all locked in. You know what I'm saying? And I like how Scotty also put emphasis on, don't think that my life is perfect. I don't have a perfect life. I'm just maneuvering through life like you are. But if we come together as a team, then we can make something happen. Now, in Scotty confessional, he lets us know that he knows that Bando isn't ready right now, but he is ready for a relationship, and he's ready for a relationship with him. He also let us know that he's tried to date, but he wasn't feeling it because he had feelings for Bando, so it made no sense to him to try to go out here and play with somebody else's feelings when he locked in with feelings with Bando, which I totally respect. So at this dinner, all we see is Scotty and Bando just flirting. They end the dinner with what we doing next, and then we jump to but months later. So apparently months later, they made it official. And about damn time, we had to wait to the final episode to know that y'all made it official. The Scotty gang already knew, but we're happy. I love the confessional look. Y'all matchy. I love everything about it. Anywho, season 1 of the Scene ATL was basically a Bando and Scotty's navigation on a situation. And I'm glad it took place. And that was the end of the episode. I'm going to give this episode a super duper A plus. You know, I loved everything about this episode. I love how it wrapped up. Y'all really had some good storylines. The quality of the season definitely got better, so I'm definitely looking forward to see what season 2 is. The editor has actually gotten better, so it's a really good show. If you guys have not seen it, y'all missed out. But I'm waiting on a reunion. I hope some of these things get addressed properly. But y'all do me a favor. If y'all made it to the end of this video, which it looked like it's going to be an hour long, if y'all made it to the end of this review, do me a favor, drop a green heart in the comments. Have some Discord with me. Let me know what you guys think. And again, my name is Miss O. I'm with the Reality Check Report, and I am checking out.